Today we take you inside the October, November, December 2008 issue of Hinduism Today magazine, the international journal that chronicles the modern history of over 1 billion people, fully 1/6 of the human race. From a feature-filled table of contents, we draw on 4 stories. The first is an authentic history of India for the children of the world, followed by a day with 90-year-old illumined sage Dada Vaswani. And next, we follow the fascinating tale of the Indian sari. And then we're off on an all-India festival excursion, worshiping the great goddess. But first, a tale about television, told by our publisher, Sadhguru Bodhinatha Velan Swami. It's called Using TV as a Spiritual Tool, and it shows us how television, so often a menace, especially for the young ones, can help us work through our karmas if approached in the right way. Bodhinatha reminds us that TV, like life, is full of things both positive and negative, and it is up to us to make the right choices that enhance our spiritual life. He especially urges us to monitor the young ones watching and explain to them what is being presented on the screen, so they will take away good lessons that uplift their life. Sadhguru Bodhinatha, who often meets with parents here at our monastery, says this:
Parents can help their children learn to use television to increase spirituality by watching programs together and discussing them afterwards. Talk about the various characters, their actions, and the consequences of those actions. A good perspective to convey is that all men are your teachers. Some teach you what to do, and others teach you what not to do. Oftentimes on today's television programs, the principles of reincarnation and karma are presented in one form or another. This can be pointed out and discussed to see how accurately the concept was presented. Mystical practices, which are common in recent shows, such as being able to read others' thoughts or seeing the future in a dream, are also useful to talk about with children, drawing out lessons to be learned. The great boon that television has given humanity, which is especially appreciated by Hindus, is that we can soften our prarabdha karmas quickly by analyzing, forgiving, and compassionately understanding the happenings on the screen.
From Hinduism Today's founder, we have this: television can be very entertaining and helpful, or it can be insidiously detrimental, depending on how it is used. Each year in the United States, 4.5 million children, 11 years old, learn about the history of India. It's a sad fact that their texts are riddled with error and full of negative stereotypes. To correct this, our editors have designed and written this 16-page lesson covering the years 300 to 1100 CE. It explores the amazing scientific and social achievements of this age, including the discovery by mathematician Aryabhata of the circumference of the Earth long before the West made a similar measurement. In the section on society, science, and the arts, the children learned that India was the world's richest country during this period. And they learn of the main features of town and village life, how people lived in those days. And they explore the advances in art, science, and technology that were made during that time, including these 3 Chola-era bronze statues and this masterpiece of Saraswati. In a section on science and technology, students learn that India first evolved the decimal system and the concept of zero. Each section includes a review of ideas, terms, and people to give students an evaluation of their understanding. In the section on religion, students learn how the Hindu kings held tolerant attitudes toward all religion. Hinduism's deep impact on every aspect of daily life is explored. Key terms studied are religious harmony, the bhakti movement, puja, agamas, and Purana. The Bhakti movement, which is ignored in current histories, is given a place of honor here. Temples, which are the sacred gathering places of devotees, were magnificent in those days. This 8th century Siva temple at Ellora was carved out of a solid mountain, taking 100 years to complete. And this Chola temple from the same period is still active today. Temples and the great souls who worshipped in them were central to the Bhakti movement. The text says, many Hindu saints of this time preached the importance of devotion to God. Adoration for the divine, known as Bhakti, stresses one's personal relationship with the divine as a love-centered path of spiritual advancement. It complemented meditation and yoga, offering an all-embracing means to enlightenment and liberation from birth and rebirth through divine grace. Author Lavina Melwani writes of her day with spiritual master Dada Vasvani in New York. Thousands came to celebrate his 90th birthday, and when he was asked to share how he looks and acts so wonderful at 90, Dada said, "The secret is always trying to live in the presence of Sri Krishna." Our next story unfolds forever's favorite fashion, the Indian sari. This 16-page feature delves into the many regional styles of the sari and its rediscovery by the fashion world. It is, after all, a 5,000-year-old garment that remains the daily attire of millions of women and commands the respect of chic designers who revere this silken swath of cloth as a fashion stalwart that transcends trendiness. It was Frenchwoman Chantal Boulanger who documented over 80 styles of sari drapes. One Indian woman offered this: when you hold a sari out to wear the first time, you feel a mix of shock and surprise. How does so much go around, and how does it stay in place? Then someone who knows how it's done steps in, asks you to hold your arms out, and goes around a couple of times, and puts in a pin here and there, and a few short minutes later, it's done. Indra Nooyi, the CEO of Pepsi, and Renu Khatur, the chancellor at the University of Houston, both wear their saris proudly. The sari, that single stretch of fabric that comes in infinite textures and patterns, is an enduring symbol of India's beauty, simplicity, and practicality. It is during the annual fall festival of Navaratri that Hindus all over the world worship the feminine form of the Supreme, something unknown in other faiths. Our article takes you to every region of India, revealing the different ways we worship according to our place of birth. We learn that seeds of grain planted on the first day become sprouted offerings on the last, carried in baskets, symbols of the Divine Mother's living power. This edition's short stories include an appeal to find oneness with life through vegetarianism, Murali Balaji's take on how parents are failing to pass on what they know to their kids, how the forests of India are being saved by those who call them sacred, an editorial by Dr. David Frawley on the dangers of Christian missionary tactics, and much more about Hinduism in the world today. The frank and earnest cartoon that appears on our Quotes and Quips page has the mendicant mountaintop sage giving spiritual advice to a rather uninformed seeker. The entire 84-page issue of Hinduism Today is available both online and in print. Just go to www.hinduismtoday.com, where you can subscribe, visit our archives, and explore the vast digital resources that are there.